Well, welcome to our fifth episode of Taking a Spring Peek. I am Michael, and of course, with us today we've got Matt who plays Zintris and Rose who plays Onates. Hello, you two.
Hello.
Hello.
So, as always, we need to go with our most important question of the night. Which fan fiction genre do you think best describes your character?
Drama?
Drama.
Oh Lord. Give me a second. If you hear typing, it's not me
Yeah,
looking
yeah,
up
no, that's fine.
genres.
I was initially thinking I would specifically state the ones off of ff.net, but I mean that those ones are pretty limiting, to be honest.
uh,
I will eventually also run out of these dumb questions.
I don't believe you. Uh, Given what we just learned, not in the actual context of what it means, but fix it.
Fix it. Okay. Yeah, yeah. I can see that. Usually fix it is generally described as like fixing the canon, because honestly, as we all know in fandoms, sometimes the people making the show don't get to do everything they want, and sometimes you gotta fix things from what producers make them do.
Yeah.
But no, fix it is an interesting concept, and you can flip it. I do like drama for Zin as well, just because he does have a flair for the dramatic, as we know from Running Away from Home. Well, I guess not running away from home. That sounds like a childish thing to do. You more like left home unannounced. You're an adult, I think. I don't know when.
Maybe?
I don't know
He,
when elves are considered quote unquote adults.
he Irish exited home.
Yeah, so no, that's fair. That's fun. Thank you so much for that. So
You can't
Our
disown me, I quit.
exactly. You can't disown me. I leave you guys. I'm gonna go do a found family situation. Those work out way better.
Yeah.
Like they say, found family is way stronger since it's bonds you choose. Which we kind of saw this last session, how Velky and Kashan have kind of like really talked things out a bit and had a bit of a heart to heart for once.
I love it.
Yeah, how are you guys feeling? Since I know there was some tension between those two, how are you guys feeling about it going forward now?
Good. I'm hoping that Anates and Kashan are next on the chopping block for fixing the tension.
Oh, you just have to have a night together.
Okay, well don't worry like that.
Well, I mean, have a campfire lookout
There-
where people hopefully actually look out. For, considering what happened last time.
Listen, we can't control what the dice do.
No, we can't. Everyone was a little preoccupied with everything that was going on. It was funny though. It was funny. I'm glad I was being able to continue the tension of something will attack in the night. All through that. That was great. Loved it. 10 out of 10 would do again. But
I'm
no,
sure you will.
just need a nice little chat by the campfire. And it kind of seems like maybe Velky and Onates won't have one for a little bit.
Yeah. And Velky needs a little bit of time.
Yeah. So I was going to go in order of things, but since that got brought up, let's start with you, Matt. What are your thoughts on the sudden, well, roundabout confession from Onates?
Pass the popcorn.
I will say it was kind of painful to watch, listen. Mostly because Velky just could not understand.
It was, at least from my end, it was supposed to be painful.
Yeah.
Onates was supposed to not be able to know what the fuck he was saying.
No, and that came across. Thank you for giving me the secondhand embarrassment that I would.
You're welcome.
If this had been a TV program, I would have changed the channel for a few minutes. But it's not.
Woo.
No, I do that all the time. If I'm watching something, I know something embarrassing is going to happen, I change the channel until that's done. Because I suffer.
That's why I can't watch cringe videos.
Yeah, it's just like, oh man, this is like embarrassing for me as a human.
Or
So-
like public freakout videos.
But yeah,
I usually have to pause it and go do something else, and then I come back and eventually confront what I run away from.
what made Onatace decide the day after getting called out by lore to actually follow through with this?
Oh, two things. The out of canon reason is his player is incredibly impatient.
Hmm.
The canon reason is it just felt like a good time to him.
Okay.
He dealt with his shit, and he knew that the only reason he didn't want to do it right away is he wanted to wait till after he went to the puddle.
Okay.
So as soon as that was dealt with, and Velky mentioned the thing about swimming, and a lot of the times when Onatace does something cute and meaningful towards Velky, it's usually exactly in response to something he said. So he said the thing about swimming, so Onatace was like, okay, there we go. That's how I'm gonna do it.
Okay. No, that's great. And it was a lot of fun. Embarrassing but fun. Not gonna lie. Velky is definitely a little thick, as is Onatace. Well, can't blame the boy. He's been stuck in a monastery for a while.
That's fair.
Not that they don't
Onatace
have
is only-
relationships there. It's not like the Church of Shatir makes you take an oath of celibacy, but you know, when you're focused on your studies for years and you just kind of throw everything else to the side, you kind of miss out on the whole proper learning how to be or at least notice the signs of someone liking you.
Mhm.
So
And Onatace is only 5 months old, so that's his
exactly.
reason.
And I mean, that's definitely going to be something that Velky has to take into consideration. Onatace is a literal child.
Uh,
No.
In a way.
Joking about that. I think it's become abundantly clear that Onatace is not 5 months old.
No.
There's
He's
something
6.
going. He's 6. No, there's something going on.
Yeah.
But we'll wrap back around to this. Let's get to the start of the session last time. Everyone really loves Darien. And I'm glad. What is the ending impressions that Zin and Onatace have over this little gnome?
God, he's gonna get himself hurt.
Oh yeah, I wonder who brought that into play.
Look, I gave him the armor because we tend to get into fights, and I wanted him to be at least like 1 AC point more protected than he normally is.
Right.
It just so happens that he's a gnome and I'm a 6 foot tall buff rock man.
Who spawned with armor. Or picked it up along the way somewhere.
So, I like to think it was given to him by the same people who gave him his
Clothes?
coat and pants.
That's fair. That's a fun little note. And I mean, in a similar way, it's now Onatace paying the same thing forward. Like,
Yeah.
ran into these people who helped him out and gave him some armor, and now you've run into this guy who is clearly capable of taking care of himself since he's been traveling for 50 years, but still, the kingdom is clearly on a decline of safety. So, wow, the music really became ominous when I said that. That's funny. That's twice now that's happened. Anyway, digression aside, paying that kindness forward is really nice. Zin, do you think, or Matt, does Zin think that Darian's probably going to get himself killed
Yeah, probably. But at least he has something he can stab him with beforehand.
That's true. He has a knife too.
I don't necessarily think
Zin gave
killed.
him.
I think more just hurt. He seems oddly resilient, so I don't think he'll die. He'll just like scrape his knee and get back up.
I kind of imagine Darian as being on like that. He's like teetering the edge of NPC versus like actual classed character. Like he's been straddling that line for a while and just needs like a little bit of a push one way or the other. I definitely think you guys are pushing him more towards possibly being a class. In my mind, if I was going to think of one, I would think Ranger.
Oh, I was thinking either that or if he really embraces the Auticus stuff, he comes back as a warlock.
Yeah, I mean that's possible. Warlocks are very rare in this setting, just because patrons like think about how hard it has been for gods to come in to like get clerics and paladins outside of Shatir. Imagine like patrons. Like unless your patron is a god, it's going to be very difficult to get something through that barrier. Not saying it's impossible. There might be some warlocks out there. We'll see as I keep developing the world. But like Kashana being a warlock is definitely a little different from what the rest of the kingdom generally sees. And I realize I've made this setting a little constricting in that way, but also like it'll be a big payoff when we like move into the other parts of the world where everything is open and available. But yeah. No, I can see what you're saying about the warlock thing. I would say maybe even a paladin if he leaned in towards being like a champion of Auticus. I was just thinking with his innate ability to be mobile and move and living through the trees in the forest, a ranger would kind of fit well. With the knife, maybe even more rogue tendencies, maybe a little bit of both. Though he's not really one to steal or have that kind of sleight of handness that the rogue class kind of is known for, right, Zin?
Him and Sprig can become ranger buddies.
Yes, yes. Sprig was also very ranger-like. Speaking of which, what are your guys' thoughts on what's happened at Haywood since you've left?
Like what we think has happened?
Yeah, what do you think's going on there? Based on like everything that you guys have done.
So I don't have a lot of like what I think maybe happened. I want to know what's up with Sprig, how Sprig's doing. I hope that Sympath hasn't like just decided that this town is their home now.
That'd be interesting.
I will go kick that Dragonborn in the dick myself.
I mean, Sympath is a nomadic church. They don't really make roots.
Even nomads make settlements sometimes.
True. That's fair. That's a fair thought. Zen, Matt?
Well,
Zat?
he's,
Mintris?
he's hoping things are at least cleaned up.
Yeah. Place was in ruin. Not like ruin, like could rebuild pretty easily. A lot of those buildings were still intact, but
I'm curious. The Church of Shatir sent us up there to check on it, and we provided them the information of the state it was in.
Mm-hmm.
Their whole thing is they're not allowed to do anything unless they're asked for help.
Correct.
Well, a completely destroyed town can't ask for help. Are they just gonna? Will they just let it sit there and be because of that?
Well, I mean, to begin with, the church hasn't even stated to the kingdom what happened there.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're trying to keep it under the rug until courage is found.
Right.
But obviously the province is very quickly coming to know that stuff's gone down there. You've basically already told the biggest information broker about it, despite telling Skryia you wouldn't tell anyone. Plus now Darian, and Sprig obviously knows, and presumably that band of Sympath followers know. So it's not like the biggest secret, though they're trying. But I mean, yeah, if the town is basically wiped out, they probably won't do anything until it's reestablished.
Yeah, that's fair.
I mean, why send a cleric there to settle down if there's no people?
I guess, yeah.
Like, that's basically like a province-wide figure out what to do with that settlement and supply chain that the logging and mining has now come to an abrupt stop. That was, of course, why the three masons didn't have any onates to fill your crack with.
Yeah, because they couldn't get any from
Yeah,
Haywood.
there's only one other place in the kingdom that does have onates at it. And I'll leave that up to you to figure out. Anyway, no, I like these thoughts on what's going on at Haywood. Like I've said to you guys, I do need to come up with the solid. Here's exactly what happened with Sprig and everything afterwards. And I will. It's just interesting to see what you guys think might have gone down. I have ideas. Obviously, I have many ideas on what could have happened there. But at the very least, you guys were very thorough in getting rid of the undead.
Yeah.
So you can rule out Sprig getting murked by a random zombie.
Did we finish clearing out all the bats from the cave?
Those are pretty natural. Those are forest creatures that took root in the caves after people stopped mining.
Yeah. Zombies don't reproduce. Bats do. I'm sure the
Yeah.
bats will.
Oh yeah, the bats and there was other creatures in there. I don't think you actually ended up fighting. The
Well, it was
nocturnal
less
animals.
the regular bats and more the giant ones.
Yeah, that's still like creatures. You guys are heading to Freya Noon soon. Freya Noon is where a lot of the creatures more so than like Donmark has. So like whereas you guys fought wolves and bears, like you got more like regular wildlife animals. Freya Noon is where like the creatures are. So like
Oh,
the
boy.
fact that Haywood like is along that border, like that's where like the mix of things starts to come in. So you have things like giant bats and stuff. Not saying you're gonna end up against any like eldritch horrors over in that area. I guess we'll see. But that's where more of like the more D&D-esque monsters are. Freya Noon is also where a lot of the less humanoid races are. So you're gonna get things like the orcs, half-orcs, the lions, and goblins and stuff. Yeah. Not for any particular reason, just I really like that aesthetic.
Sure.
Yeah. So fun facts on that. So you guys said goodbye to Darien. You then decided to head towards the forest instead of going to Morganwald first. That was a choice that was brought up that I didn't realize. Was it last time you were on here, Rose? That you said you would probably just have us go straight to the pond?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, how are you guys feeling about having done that before going to Morganwald now?
God, I almost buckled and changed it last minute because of all that stuff with the wood things.
Right.
But I did like our idea uh of going there first, because Anastace would probably need some time to rest after that.
Right.
Uh, but with but when we got attacked by the wood things, there was a few moments where I was like, oh, do we just run the other direction and end up in town?
That's fair. I mean, like I said, either way would be interesting. Would oh, I am getting a call, and considering I have house things, I should probably take this. Give me a moment, please, everybody. My apologies for that. Anyway, so we were talking about sending up to the pond instead of going straight to Morganwald, and you were saying how, especially after the fight with the wooded creatures, you were kind of second guessing that thought.
Yeah, and I know it probably wasn't your intent, but for a hot minute there, it did kind of feel like we were supposed to be making a choice that I wasn't letting us make.
Okay, well, what were you thinking it was?
Well, we kept finding the roads with the feathers, and I figured, okay,
Mhm.
this town's in a forest. It probably just has multiple ways to get to it, because it's a forest. And then we found those wooded creatures, and you did keep reminding me you could always go another way. And part of me was like, okay, am I making the wrong decision? Are we supposed to be going the other way, and I'm being pig-headed and making us do something we're not supposed to be doing?
Interesting. I mean, there's never a wrong decision.
Yeah.
Um,
And you didn't really make it feel like a wrong decision. I was
No.
just like,
It was just options. And I mean, a lot of it had to do with me making sure that that was in there, because I was keeping track of how well you were rolling for your checks. And there was the possibilities of you guys not ending up at the pond right away. Like there's other destinations you could have reached instead, but you like were really good at those checks.
remembered where he was going.
Yeah. So let's talk a bit about those wooded creatures. You tried to talk to them. Kashana did end up talking to them.
Gotta love Kalishtar.
But you were very adamant about not fighting at all. Like, really. like gone a very hard pacifist this time.
I picked the worst session.
Yeah.
The worst session for Onotace to question his violent streak.
I mean, I guess that depends on your outlook on it. Before we get into that, Zin, or actually just Matt, what's your thoughts on what was going on with those wooden creatures?
I'm curious about what they were trying to protect us from.
The corpse flower.
Yeah, potentially the corpse flower.
Basically, as you were getting closer and closer to that, you were seeing a lot more of the red splotches, which were coming from it. A way for it to trap its prey.
Okay.
Yeah, basically that thing's been roaming around the forest, and that's what they meant by territory. The pond is currently within that thing's territory. You guys saw the zombie get stuck. You guys were lucky that none of you actually stepped through the red splotches, except for Kashana, who seemed to be fine, interestingly enough. I don't know if I want to reveal why or not.
Maybe it's because she's not undead.
No, I mean, anyone would have gotten stuck if it had been anyone else.
Okay.
No, I can. Okay. So basically, it just has this weird property where like plants kind of dissolve it in a way. Like it itself is a plant and can't get stuck in it. So what happened was she had stepped on the red splotch and then immediately stepped on the grass. So it basically counteracted its stick factor, so she was able to walk just fine. Whereas the zombie didn't.
Okay, that makes sense.
So that was basically why they were only ever on the paths. Basically, this corpse flower is just trying to catch anything on the paths and then gobble them up and make more zombies that it could then absorb or use. Yeah.
Okay.
Which I thought was a fun little thing that you guys were very smart to avoid.
Hell yeah.
And then we had the luckiest rolls ever.
Did you ever? So any thoughts on, like, so I know you guys know about the wooden things, what they were trying to protect you from, why, although I mean the why was more of you guys just steamrolled that thing, so I guess it didn't overly matter. Do you have any thoughts on what the wooden things were?
Well, I had initial thoughts during the session, which is why I kept trying to. Onotace thought maybe they were tied to him in some way, tied to the stars and Voshin. So he kept trying to like kind of look at my stuff, look at me. I'm here to talk to Voshin, but they didn't seem to respond to any of that. So I just assumed weird magic forest spirits.
Basically, yeah. Guy, Matt.
Like, I thought they were going to be guarding something more important. Not trying to keep us safe, but
I mean, that's pretty important.
something else safe.
No, fair. They were kind of reverse guardians in a way. Well,
No, you're locked in with me.
yeah, basically. Well, when they were talking, and you guys had said you're capable of taking care of yourselves, they said that's what they thought. They were actually victims of the corpse flower and were wayward spirits that took control over these like wooden stumps.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So, and basically, yes, you could have wrapped around to other sections, but you would have come across more. They are very adamant on protecting people from getting close. They were never going to knock you guys out. They were going to constantly try to make you run away.
Well, now knowing what I know, I'm glad I made the decision to not fight them.
Yeah, that was a good decision. It was a good decision to run away, or not run away, but like run through. But yeah, that was basically it, is that you guys were going to run into these no matter which direction you came from. Maybe not the same ones. There might have been others, but they are able to like teleport between the trees. So it could have been the same ones. I guess it depends on how many wayward spirits I want in that forest.
So Tweedlepine and Tweedle Douglas fir have been put to rest.
Possibly, as long as there's like no other corpse flyers around or anything else that's super dangerous, it's possible that they are now perfectly fine.
I love those names for them.
Yeah.
Well, I remember Douglas fir. I can't remember exactly what the other one
I
was.
can't remember the other one. I know you did call him Tweedle Douglas fir. Tweedlepine and Tweedle Douglas fir. I like that.
So yeah, that's basically what's going on with those and with that corpse flower and all that. You guys did kind of plow through. I think I need to come. I need to reimagine how I balance these fights. My current thought is based off of how you guys have been handling them thus far. The best way to do it might be to change it so that I give more HP but less hit dice. So like they don't hit to basically kill you all in one hit, but they take longer to come down.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we've been getting knocked to like half health or lower pretty frequently.
Yeah, pretty
on
frequently,
one-
especially on like
one
after
attack.
a single attack. Yeah, and like with that course power, it actually had 3 attacks but only did 1. So I think basically my idea to balance the fights, because I think the creatures are interesting, and overall, like when you guys do get like the blows going, it seems pretty fair. But I feel like for especially when it's bigger creatures like this, more HP but don't hit as hard is probably the way to go for the fights.
Yeah. And that really was like a 1 in a million shot too, because it relied on Velky using his channel divinity and then me rolling a natural 20.
Yeah, which I was just thinking, it's like, man, what are the odds of getting a natural 20 now? And apparently it's very good. Apparently it's very, very good.
That was my home, man. They
It
don't. They
was.
don't. It doesn't get to step up in my home like that.
Let's take a moment now to talk about this week's banner,
Banner.
which I now have wonderfully placed on the stream. Kashana.
So good. She looks so crazy.
So wicked.
It definitely really brings out that like warlocky side, but still is very beautiful. Like I like the blue, the ice blue crackling magic as opposed to like the general warlocky green. And the light it gives off is great. And while yeah, Kashana looks badass and like she's about to kill a bitch, it's still very elegant. It's very nice. I like this trend of getting the banners but sexy.
So sexy.
Because we
Maybe
got
that'll
Zins
continue
before
on
and now
that.
we got this one.
And now Zins is a token.
Yes, Zin's token looks great. I am very excited about that. So, no, and I think Mel did a great job of hiding the episode number on this one. It took me a moment to actually catch it. Just felt so
I
natural.
don't think I was looking at. Oh yeah, there it is.
Yeah,
I
it's like
remember
on the cuff. It almost looks like strings,
Yeah.
like you would see on like some medieval clothes and stuff. So it blends in really well and turns out really
Yeah,
nice.
that was probably the intent.
Yeah,
Was to have it look like strings.
and
It
as
took me a minute,
always,
but I did see it while I was when we first saw it.
I absolutely love the writing for the text.
Yeah.
The banners are such a good idea. She always does an incredible job. Thank you again, Mel, for another great piece of art for the campaign.
It's very good.
Yeah. So, we had a lot of religion stuff come up this time. Surprisingly, wonder where that came from.
Yeah.
Weird. We talked about it a little bit. Matt, Zin isn't like super religious, correct?
Nah, he's He just follows his own thing.
Yeah. So, how's he feeling now that he's kind of been spent a lot of time with a number of people following deities?
Oh well, he's starting to think the deities are kind of jerks for these things happening.
Ain't that true to life?
Hey, you leave my dad alone.
Oh my god, that threw me off so hard. Like that broke me for a second.
I mean, so far
Dad.
your dad has not done much that directly harms us.
No, I mean, which of the gods haven't done anything that directly harms you?
The Church of Shatir keeps zombies in their basement.
Well, does the church do that, or does courage do that?
I mean,
know.
technically the answer is yes, because we know that at least Barry knows what Courage is doing and is completely complicit with those experiments.
I mean, we got the blight from that other church for lore to drink.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely Barry's thought of like, what's the use of keeping this here anyway? Like, that's the thing, is when you're doing this, when like you've been doing this for so long and you're told we keep these down here, you kind of get to the point where it's like, we do. They're just sitting there. I don't really care, I guess. Like, if you took one, what's it matter? We're not doing anything with it. You can't do anything with it, probably. I didn't look into that. And I, meaning Barry, me, Michael, the DM, absolutely did. But yeah, no, it's just like, here, just take it then, I guess, if you want it so bad. But no, you're right. So Zin is now feeling like the Church of Shatir is kind of sketch.
Like, it might not be all of them, like, maybe select few, but like, something is definitely up.
Mm-hmm. Sure, that's fair. How are you feeling, or how's Onate's feeling about the embrace of Shatir?
He's always been on the fence with them. He doesn't really care for religion, which, I mean, it might be a little different now. But he doesn't really care for religion, and the more church people he meets, the less he cares for them. Like, obviously, there's Belky, who is basically the exception to the rule at this point, but he doesn't really like Skryia. He finds something off about Skryia that he doesn't like. He, courtesy of an insight check, I believe, he doesn't like Barry because of that whole thing, and obviously doesn't like Courage. So every church person he meets is just like more and more, yeah, no, I don't like you people.
Fair. And I mean, now you
all
have...
kind of suck.
But I mean, you also aren't too keen on Sympath either.
Yeah, maybe it's just maybe Onates is just being one of those people who's like, well, they don't follow my god, and he just doesn't know it yet.
Is it that, or is it the idea of organized religion? Because once you get people bringing an organization into play, it gets murky.
What are you insinuating that I'm putting my personal ideals on my character, Michael?
What?
Hashtag it's always the church.
I would never. And me, as well as a person, would never. No, I mean, I'm not going to say whether the church is good or bad for Shatir, Sympath, or Wish. That's for you guys to decide and continue investigating on. I guess it also depends. Is the idea of the organization for the Embrace bad, or is it the people that are currently like in charge that are bad? How far does that go, up or down or in? Is it just these ones in Dawnmark that you guys are feeling a kind of sketch with, or is it everywhere? Who knows?
Currently, it's just for Onates, it's individuals. Like he doesn't care about the Church of Sympath or the Church of Shatir or the Church of Wish as a whole, but he doesn't like the specific clerics he's met.
Yeah, I mean, the one that helped out Lore there was pretty nice.
Yeah.
I mean, you
Like
didn't get to meet him, but
Yeah. And I'm sure like I wouldn't have instantly hated him, but the ones I've had extended conversations with, I've not come out with a good taste in my mouth.
and that's honestly fair. And I mean, definitely wasn't entirely anticipating it to get this much focus. I thought after the whole Haywood arc, it was going to kind of die down, but no, it's kind of stayed at the forefront a bit.
Yeah. I know me personally don't want or Onates and me don't want courage to sink into the background. I want that to be something we deal with. Especially with everything he's doing.
Right. And I mean, you guys got some information on Courage, at the very least, the direction he's gone.
So we need to take a boat, right?
Well, you don't need to be. Algernon believes he's gone to one of the port cities up north, either in Skydusk or possibly Aaron Eve, though I think they said Aaron Eve is less likely than Skydusk. I can't remember now.
I think after we do Rune's Edge, we need to hop on a boat, because, like, Algernon said, like, Courage is doing port towns. The way he described how Sangus travels, it seems like he just lives on a boat and goes back and forth every day.
I mean, fair. The fastest way to travel, like, from Aaron Eve or Skydusk to Dawnmark is by boat.
And
It
he
is way
also,
faster.
in regards to something I'm sure we'll talk about later, he also told Onates, you should go hop on a boat. So
Voshin said that.
yeah, Voshin said to go hop on a boat for something that I'm sure we'll get into in a few minutes here.
And
So.
me, Michael, has been saying this whole campaign, hey, boat.
Yeah, hey, boat, go hop on the boat.
Here's charting stars that sailors do.
Go hop on the boat.
Thank you for
sure
picking up my very subtle hints.
I'm sure we will at some point. We got to do Lore's thing though. We got to go to Rune's Edge.
Lore / Kashana. Kashana
we
also wants to go
a
on the
very
runes.
good boat that's big and red.
Yes, it's almost like I've been planning for a sea voyage.
Oh yeah, we can go back and grab the Gokai Galleon.
Exactly. Please. Oh my god, please, just get on this fucking boat.
So somebody clip that. I need to have that anytime Michael mentions the boat from now on in game.
I marked it.
That.
I timestamped it. I can go make it.
Please get on the fucking boat.
So, you met Voshin.
Oh, I did. I met Dad.
Oh my god. Okay, before that, Matt, did you expect us to like actually get face to face with a god at any point in this?
Yeah,
Oh, really?
I didn't.
it's an RPG. We've got to kill one at some point.
I mean, that's fair. That's definitely what RPGs usually do. That's basically what Persona is all about.
That's Final Fantasy too.
Yeah, Final Fantasy is just like Final
Even if
Fantasy
it
Persona is just
doesn't
like,
make
here's a bunch of
sense,
kids, go
fine.
kill God. Yeah, no, fair. I'm actually surprised to think that anyone thought we'd get face to face with one like this.
I certainly didn't. I was very surprised.
Yeah, no, it's just very, very good series of events. And because we've now like been brought into the gods so much, I've definitely kind of designed them a bit more, and I'm like, yes, here I want to showcase them a bit. For the ones that can come in. Not saying they all can. Voshin was
Papa.
able to. Not at full strength, obviously. This is more of like, here's a place in the world where Voshin is able to touch for reasons.
Mhm.
Yeah, so no, I'm very. It's very interesting to think that you had thought that we'd get to meet a god face to face, Matt. Thank you. I'm glad that it's not a surprise to everybody, so that some people at least are kind of like, oh, sweet, this is cool. We're getting into the classic RPG traits. That was a very big moment for Onates, though.
It was.
I will say, I kind of gave more than I anticipated, but I felt like I needed to in a way.
Yeah.
So,
He had a lot of questions.
where's Onates at now?
Oh God. Well, much like me, he didn't think he was gonna even get to see. He didn't think there was a form to see, because anytime he had heard from the stars before, it had been voices in his head and feelings. He didn't think there was going to be something to see. So when he saw a person, there was an instant connection. It was like, this is who made me. This is who I talk to. This is
Right.
Dad. Where he is now after that conversation, he's a lot better. He was struggling at the tail end there with identity and who he was, because it was starting to feel like he didn't have one, especially when we learned about Sangus and that there was a possible tie there. He was really starting to feel like he was a byproduct of something and he wasn't a person. But now that he knows why he exists and sort of how, he's feeling a lot better about who he is and what he's bringing into the world, and that he is here for a reason.
Okay, let's delve a little deeper into that then. Who is Onates? To Onates.
I think he is what he always was. He's, to give it the high word, he's king, or he's going to be. He had lost his direction in what he had initially intended, but he's he's a leader. He's going to guide people, like it says in the opening. He's going to guide people the way the stars guide him, and that's who he is. He's a guide.
So is this possible connection with Sangus kind of second note now? It doesn't really matter. The past doesn't really matter anymore, whether he has amnesia or not, or is he more content?
He's more content. He still doesn't agree with Voshin saying that the past is disconnected from the future. He strongly believes that the past shapes the future, and that his past does matter, but it's not going to consume him at this point. He tried to confront the feelings, and it didn't go so well, but he's not going to push them away.
Okay. So
I think initially... Oh, no, go ahead.
No, you finish that thought, because then I'm going to ask Matt a question.
I think initially he was very... Especially with the whole pacifism thing with the trees. He was very... I need to push away from this murderous streak. It's getting out of control. I don't want anything to happen. Then when he when he reached out to that part of him, he kind of made the decision that he's not going to push away from it. He's going to kind of let it in slowly and try to make it part of who he is, instead of something he's running from.
Interesting. Okay. Matt, what do you think? Do you think there's a connection between Onates and Sangus? And if so, what do you think it is?
Not really.
Not really, as in you don't think there's a connection?
No, really.
Okay. No, that's fair. I mean,
It can just be one giant coincidence.
can be. I mean, we've already stated how many people in our party fit that description. Knows scar plus piercings. Yeah, that was funny. That was very funny to me, because I wasn't even thinking about that. I'm just like, I was trying to put this like seed in there of like Sangus and Ontes having a tie, and then Mel brings up, well, Velky fits that too. I'm like, oh my god, wait, what? No, that was very funny to me. No, I'm glad that like, you feel that way, Matt. Rose, do you feel there is a connection? I asked very pointedly.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on what it is?
I think so. When Onotes asked if they were related, Voshin specifically couldn't answer him.
Correct.
And I
There
feel
were
like
rules.
I feel like if the answer was no, the rules wouldn't matter. I feel like if Onotes said, "Am I connected to like Theo Magnus or something?" and the answer was, or like somebody that the answer is clearly no to, uh, he would just be like, "No, what are you on about? Stop." uh, but to Onotes, it feels like the fact that the rules specifically stopped him from saying anything means it's complicated.
Can you, if I give an answer, can you separate Onotes from Rose's thoughts on that?
Potentially.
Because I am perfectly willing to say, if the question was, am I related to Theo Magnus, the word still would not pass.
Okay.
Because the clear rules, and I, that was a very big moment for me. It's possible I fumbled over myself a bit on it. I'm not a perfect trained improv actor. The rule was that who you are, or was, or part of the deal that was made could not be discussed. So even if it was a very obscure random thing, it could not be discussed. It could even have been, am I Velky's brother, and it still would not have reached, because it is getting a definitive answer in some way of the terms of the agreement.
Okay. I think Onotes would, knowing that, would still think there's something there. Because I don't think he really believes in coincidences that much.
Fair. No, that's fair. I mean, there's a lot of things here that would lead up to this very big coincidence,
Yeah.
which is possible,
And
but
I think the big one for him is that he was born roughly around the same time that Sangus supposedly died, in the same place. Or around the same place, rather.
around the same place. There is some time between the two, but
The biggest regret I have is not asking Algernon how Sangus died.
oh, that would have been
Oh.
interesting.
It's the biggest regret I have.
See, going into there, I thought the questions that you were going to ask were going to be the one you did on Am I Sangus? Number 2, where is courage?
I wanted to make this moment more about who Onotes is and how he's gonna go forward, and less about his vendetta.
Fair.
Because I really wanted, with everything that's going on, with who am I, this thing that keeps happening to me in combat, the him getting called out by lore, with everything going on with his personal life, I felt that he needed to spend those questions figuring out who he is so he can move forward. And then once he knows who he is, he will find and utterly demolish courage. That is going to happen.
So with this thing, how Velky puts it on you going far away, and I'm sure everyone else has kind of noticed this sort of change as well. Matt, what's Zin's thoughts on when Onotes seems to have this shift and just has to kill others?
Sorry.
No worries. Yeah.
It'd prefer if he could hold it back when we're trying to get information.
Fair. Murder definitely takes a weird precedent in this world where self-defense is very necessary.
Yeah.
Like, it definitely makes a gray area. Especially,
Yeah,
like, if you're fighting bandits who are going to kill you.
And that's come up a lot with, like, every time Onate says he's not a murderer, and people go, okay, but you're decidedly a murderer. But it's different for me and for him because there's a difference in killing a bandit in self-defense in a fantasy world as opposed to walking into a shop owner's shop and slitting their throat.
Exactly. And I agree that those are very different things as well. And it's just interesting in this world of D&D where a lot of players play with murder hobos.
Right.
Where, like, the general idea is, oh yeah, we go from town to town, we kill anyone we need to, and there's no repercussions because it's a D&D game. And this idea is kind of playing off that a little bit. Because, yes, there is a difference when you're doing this in self-defense. You could still argue there's a difference when you guys have, as a group, killed all of these people from the Voidwalkers who were killing you, but now there's one person who is giving up, and now you've still decided to kill him. Like, there's an argument there. It's a very gray area, because who's to say that person's not going to then stab you in the back, but it's an interesting discussion point on at what point does it become murder.
Are you talking about the guy that accidentally got, like, critical bolted?
Not even just that. There was their first time in Risen. The person in the cart. Not in Risen, sorry. In Arden Path.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. There was one guy left, the rest had run, and he was going to give information, but then Ante still killed him. But yes, you also have the guy who got donutted, which was just an accident. Accidents happen, especially with magic.
Yeah.
It's hard to non-lethally use magic.
Yeah, it was me going, I need to slow him down. I guiding bolt his leg, and then I rolled like max damage, and I even admitted, I'm like, I even said, like, right when it happened, I'm like, that didn't hit him in the leg.
No, it's just like, that was a critical natural 20. Max damage took him out down to 0 instantly. It's like, nah, that can't be a non-lethal blow.
I might have been aiming for the leg, but more came out than I expected, and that man is dead.
Yeah, no, he got turned into a donut. Which is unfortunate that happens. I mean, Zin's in the same boat. With the bow and arrow, it's hard to non-lethally kill someone at a distance like that. Like, usually the non-lethal blows are you hit them over the head and knock them out, or, like, incapacitate them in some way physically. It's hard to do that in range.
I have a DM, and apparently it's actually in the book too, that non-lethal blows are specifically stated to be melee attacks.
Yeah, it just, you can't do it. There's, like, I suppose there's some spells that you could possibly do it with, but they kind of straddle the line of physical with, like, vine whips and stuff like that.
And I mean, if with bows and arrows, if people tell me if they say before they shoot, I'm aiming for the leg, I'm like, okay.
Yeah, and I would absolutely agree with that as well. It would change the AC. It'd be harder to hit.
That's a called shot.
Yeah, like, shots. If I am going to, like, aim for, like, disable, I will be saying, like, leg, arm, whatever.
Yeah, which I'll then take into account and see how well that goes. It's just, if you're not thinking about that ahead of time, and you've let the arrow go, and you're like, oh shoot, I wanted that to be non-lethal, it's like, not likely.
Not likely, that man is dead.
Especially whereas when I'm dropped and then revived, I aim straight for the middle of the eyes.
Yeah. And I mean, Zin's got this interesting, like, revenge vendetta against people that knock him down. Which, I mean, you're going to be doing a ton of damage later. Because that's how rogues work. They just kind of exponentially do more damage.
Sneak attack, BB.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's interesting which classes, like, deal small damage to start, but then major damage later. Because it's just kind of funny.
I don't do bad damage. But just not as much as, like, guiding bolts and whatnot.
Exactly. I mean, and we've talked about this, Onatace is gonna kind of level out as he levels up as well.
Yeah. My class starts off my subclass starts off very strong, but it middles out.
Yeah.
It doesn't scale the greatest.
So, you brought it up earlier. We do now have an opening video. I think we should maybe quickly hop over to that.
Heck yeah. I wish to guide people like the stars guide me.
If you like stepping all over everyone and being confined to the tiny little role.
Of course, we've had a few drawbacks, I suppose. I don't know. It'll be worth it. I know it will.
But I believe that we are in a birdcage, as you would say.
It won't happen again, right?
I think I did acknowledge, like, oh, it's like a fox head, but I didn't, like, really, like, acknowledge. Oh, God, I can hear myself now.
Oh, no. There we go. Yeah, no, it's fox head. Oh, why is it putting your display image there now? What's going on with that?
It's me.
Yeah.
Look at me go.
Why would you do this to me? I can't believe you've done this.
How could this happen to me?
There we go. Fixed it. Man, that's a weird thing it does.
DMCA.
DMCA. Yeah. So, what do you guys think of the new opening? First opening.
First opening.
We'll see how adventurous I get later.
Hello.
I mean, this campaign is
like
going to
it.
go for a number of years.
Oh, Lord.
Unfortunately, just due to the fact that have us do it every second week. Coming up on 1 year.
Been that long already?
Yeah, October 5th.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, we're getting close. I mean, there's still a number of months, but we're getting close. So, thoughts on the opening?
Is very good. I like the choice of lines a lot.
Good. You want to discuss where you guys think those lines came from?
So, I think I could cheat with the Onatace one, because I'm going to assume it's from the link you sent me.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know exact episodes, but I have ideas.
Yeah, you don't need the exact episodes, like at least the context of the conversations that they're in.
I think
I can barely remember.
I think Kashana's comes from when she was trying to convince Onatace to let her go with the papers.
Mm-hmm. That is correct. That is what that's from.
I think Velky's comes from everybody talking to him outside after Onatace hugged him.
Nope.
No.
No.
Okay. I could have sworn that's where that one was from. Zin's comes from, I think, one of the many attempts to try to get him to talk about his family.
Not really.
I don't remember the exact context. I remember it was as a comment about something.
Do you want the answer?
Yeah.
That was when you were talking to So Lin, your dad's friend.
Okay.
Because basically he had been saying, well, why would you want to leave? Your house has everything you need. You got everything you want there. And that's what you responded to him with.
Where's the Kashana one from?
No, you were
Oh,
right
no,
about
sorry,
Kashana.
that was the Velky one, I mean. Sorry.
Velky's was when he hands over Courage's book to Skryia.
Okay. That makes sense. Yeah, okay. It's just what they won't happen again, right? I was like, that's Velky talking to Kashana when the group confronted him outside.
But now you guys
Uh,
have more context on that line, because he's talking about what happened to both Haywood and his own town.
Yeah. I have no idea where Lors is from. Lors sounds like it could come from any conversation Lors ever been in.
I will say Lore's was a bit difficult, and Jericho and I talked a bit about that, trying to find. I mean, like, on a taste, I knew instantly. I didn't have to ask you, Rose, at all on where a good line for yours.
Yeah.
And Matt's came pretty naturally as well. Velky, I mean, and Kashana's did. I mean, I was trying to get something from Kashana from when she blew up the cabinet.
Yeah.
But none of the things she said there were really catchy me. But then as I kept listening through that episode, when Anastace and Kashana are talking, I'm like, that is brilliant.
I feel like I don't know if I have grounds on saying this, but I feel like Anastace might have been the easiest person to pull a line like that for that type
Yeah,
of opening.
it was.
Because he boasts a lot. so anytime he's like, I will guide you, or I'm gonna be king.
Yeah. So
But I do like I want to guide people the way the stars guide me.
yeah, no, I wanted something that gave the idea of what the character was about, or their goals, or just something. So for Anastace, that was very easy. Just literally said exactly what you're about. Zin was a little harder because Zin keeps to himself a bit more, but I thought getting a good line on his home situation and why he's adventuring was a nice touch. Just being
That's
like,
why I thought. Yeah, that's why I thought it was from a conversation where we tried to get him to talk about his family, because it felt like it was one of those like, yeah, where do you come from, Zin? And he was like, oh, look, a tree.
yeah. I mean, Zin's an interesting character in that he clearly trusts everyone, but he still doesn't want to talk about his past or where he's from or anything like that.
My new favorite running gag with him is how old are you? And him just going, I already told you.
I like the one meme of like, tell us about your family. I have one.
I have one. Tell us about your family. I have one.
Yeah, that's.
I still have that art saved.
Yeah, it's a good one. No, so it's just like, the other problem I ran into, especially with the earlier ones, is I fiddled with my dice a lot, and the clacking comes up. So I was trying to find a voice line that A, fit the opening, B, did not have me fiddling in the background, and C, did not get cut off or have people talk over each other, because that's a very difficult thing to handle in a delayed audio setting.
With the fiddling, couldn't you have just like keyed out part of the? I don't know how good
I could
your
have.
audio editing is.
Not that great. I'm not a great audio editor, and I could have done some stuff, but like, it is so apparent when I was doing it, and it lasts so long. It would just be so difficult that it's just like,
You're just like, God damn it, past Michael.
Yeah, I was basically very upset at myself, and I'm just like, God damn it. Why now when I'm not talking and letting you guys kind of do your thing and I need to fiddle, I just mute my mic.
Yeah.
Which is way better. But yeah, so that's something I had to run into. So, but I was very happy with what I found for Zin. Lores comes from the first episode Lore is in, from one of the many conversations talking about where they came from, what they're doing. Just talking about trying to get to Ardton, not really have any problems, well, except for a few drawbacks, which I don't think anyone followed up on. Lore was on their way to Ardton on a ship when it got attacked by the Blight, and they got a warning, and so the ship got redirected up to a port near Arden Path, which is where you then found them.
Yeah, I don't think we followed up on that.
Yeah, we didn't follow up on that
I
one.
forgot about that.
Yeah, that's why Lore was there instead. Yeah. Also because I didn't want them to have to wait until you guys get all the way back to Ardton.
So, question on that then: was the initial plan? Did you and Jericho have a talk beforehand where the plan was to introduce him in Arden, and you had to change it because we weren't going to be in Arden for a couple episodes?
Correct.
Okay.
So I was like, okay, we need to bring you in sooner because based off of how this went, we didn't. I had anticipated you guys to end a session getting to Arden Path and then like doing a quick thing through Risen, so then we could introduce Jericho and Lore in Arton. But it was very clear that wasn't going to happen. You guys stayed in Haywood too long, so I'm like, okay, we need to change this up a little bit. We'll bring you in here instead, and it worked out great. It was basically just the idea was you spent all your money getting that ship to get you to Ardton, and it got redirected. So now you need to get some more money to travel. So you've just been here playing for a little while, and then you run into the group. So, yeah, that was basically what that was going to be. Well, I mean, that's not what that was going to be. That's what it ended up. That's what it was.
Yeah.
And then Kashana's yes was talking to Onates, convincing him to let her take the papers and stuff.
Yeah. I knew that one right away. I was like, okay, that's from the trying to convince Onates, like, hey, there are other gods, aren't you curious? And Onates going, God damn it, you had to say the G word.
And it's such a good line.
It's a very good line. We're stuck in a bird cage.
Yeah, because it's definitely like that. I like that Kashana is kind of the foil to Velki, where Velki's like, everything's good, that Shatir is great, this barrier is perfect, and Kashana's like, well, wait a second, what if it's not? What if, as Matt said earlier, they're not trapped out there, we're trapped in here?
Yeah.
Like,
And
what if
honestly,
it's
it's a good question. It's a good conflict between two characters.
It is. It's a lot of fun. And I mean, they definitely have butt heads a lot so far, but I think they have a lot of common ground. Maybe. I definitely thought Onates and Velki would butt heads more than they have.
Honestly, so did we.
Yeah, that's what Mel keeps saying.
We had an initial way that we knew the relationship was going, and then it completely flipped on us, and now it's going this way.
Yeah.
And we do talk about it when we're like, hey, remember when we really wanted them to fight each other?
And I mean, I think there's still the possibility of that. Had you failed, or had Voshin not been there to pull you out, and whatever is inside Onates got full control, Onates would probably be a very different person, and maybe they would fight.
There was a moment where I kept failing those rolls. I was like, oh, what's coming?
You did state right at the start that you're comfortable doing this since Voshin was there.
Yeah.
So you're lucky that you had a god there with you.
Meanwhile, in the Discord, we were sucking all the tension out of it by making comparisons to the Water Temple.
Yeah. I do think, since we brought that up again, I do think now that he's opened that pathway, and that he's made a connection that might trigger something in the future. Like that might change how things work a little bit, to be, I guess, vague about it. But
yeah, that's fair.
because before it was something trying to push through in small moments, whatever it is. But now there was a clear attempt to open the door.
Yeah, so I guess we'll have to see what that entails. You guys did also level up.
We did. We're level 4 now.
Yeah, you're level 4.
Can't wait to level up again next year in August.
Well, I mean, that depends on any sidetracks you go. Like I said, these are milestones. I have set these flags being like, here's like these things that I've set. Here's where you level up from. You could hit a lot very quickly, I guess, like if you decided to. It's mostly like how much side stuff goes on.
That's fair.
I mean, like this arc got dragged out quite a bit from the whole Voidwalker side story.
Yeah.
That didn't need to come up now, but I mean, I guess that technically will make parts of the Voidwalker stuff shorter later.
Yeah, we just started to deal with a lot of stuff at once, so it was dragging everything out.
Yeah. And maybe there's something there where it's like Onates wanted to get to the puddle, but also that's kind of nerve-wracking a little bit. So let's
Yeah.
delay it a little. And then the letter came into play, and you had to go to Algernon. All the stuff that happened. Risen would have been a lot faster if Kashana hadn't dug into the church. But because she did, you then got more information on Courage and Barry and everything. So it's just a matter of, there's a lot of stuff, and it's like how much you guys dig into. If this was a railroaded path of A to B, you guys could probably get through your levels pretty quick. But I like this more than experience points. Just because that's less for me to think about.
That's fair.
I already can't balance fights. How am I going to figure out how often to throw experience and how much experience to throw at you? Yeah, so.
And you get experience, and you get experience.
Especially when you guys do things that aren't really tied to fights. Like, the conversation with Barry should absolutely have given you experience. Kind of thing. The time in the casino, that technically is like experience point worthy. It was a challenge you guys overcome. So it's just like, man, I'd rather just do these milestones.
Yeah.
Especially since I want you guys to get to level 20. Level 20 is broken. Let's see how broken you guys can be.
I'm not the right druid subclass for that, Michael.
No, you're broken now.
Yeah. I'm not broken at level 20. I'm not Moon Druid. I don't
No.
get to be immortal.
No, I'm pretty sure as we get up there, Zin and Lore are probably going to be busted. I'm going to have to
What?
throw like multiple god class enemies at you guys to make an even fight.
Do we
I mean,
know-
this
do we-
depends on if my dice cooperate.
Do we know Lore's subclass yet? Has that come up? And also,
I don't-
is it Lore?
I don't think it's come up, though. I mean, it's free to see on D&D Beyond.
Cool, I'm just
Oh,
gonna
So
cheat.
Lore has a
I'm gonna go-
subclass?
Yeah,
I'm gonna
Bart.
go
I mean, you guys are all at the level where you would have a subclass. That's like level 3.
Yeah. It's Celestial, Stars, Grave, Swashbuckler, and give me 2 seconds. Where's Kingdom?
College of Creation?
Is what for her?
Oh yeah, it's College of Creation. Yep. There was a couple we were playing with.
I don't think they've used any of the College of Creation abilities yet.
I'm not sure how much he's capable of doing at the moment.
There's whenever you give a bardic inspiration die, you can make the little moat, which hasn't happened. At least not that I remember. And I don't think he's done performance of creation yet either. Maybe you forget maybe Jer forgets they have them.
Yeah, she usually plays rogue and stuff, so like doing the bard is definitely a new thing for them. Yeah, I'll bring this page up to them and be like, hey, make sure to read through this because you feel like you can't do a lot on your turn, so here's where you can.
Yeah, there's some cool features. That's why I just assumed they were lore bard, because lore bard doesn't really do a lot. It's good. It's a lot of behind the scenes stuff. It's a lot of active stuff. Also, because the lore Historia, the lore bard.
Fair.
Alright, well, that was fun to learn.
I think they did give an inspiration die last session, didn't they? They did
Yeah,
something.
I think they just didn't do the creation part of it.
They did bardic inspiration.
Yeah. So they might just
I'm
need
pretty
to
sure
be,
they've been giving bardic inspiration for a few fights.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think they might just need to be reminded. I know some newer players forget about their abilities. Even I'll be like, "Oh yeah, I can do that."
Yeah, the mode of potential.
Yeah, the mode of potential.
Yeah,
And
I'm
performance
still
of
not
creation.
entirely sure what.
I mean,
everything
it definitely took me a
used.
while before I understood how Quill worked. And to tie even further back, Freedom was just like, how the heck do I use these superiority dice efficiently? It takes a bit. Especially since I don't like throw a ton of combat at you guys. I try to get like one a session or two. I try not to make it too long between fights.
You know, I need to remember to hide more often.
Yes. Well, I mean,
Well,
you're
I
getting
don't-
your sneak attacks with the people being in contact.
Yeah, but still, it would probably cause less damage to me if I actually hide.
Yeah, if you hid, you would get less
Although,
damage.
I'm trying to remember if there's really been any good places to hide on any of these combat maps recently.
There is always somewhere. I do
Just,
make sure there's always somewhere you can hide.
Hide behind Onotase's leg.
We got into issues with that before.
Yeah.
Hiding behind a person. If you were a gnome, you probably could.
Even then, the turns take place in 6 seconds. You can't really reliably hide behind a person.
Yeah.
No, I'm not going to be pulling a Connie with Rook.
Yeah. So there's always places to hide. Sometimes you're gonna have to be a little more creative, but I mean, like the forest gave you plenty of space. Basically, if you're looking at the map and you see objects, likely is, unless I state otherwise, you could probably hide behind them. Like rocks can be big, trees can be hidden in behind buildings, the cart. There's places you can hide.
Yeah, although when I think hide, I'm thinking like completely out of sight.
Yeah, no, I mean, if there's a battle going on and you like run and you're like, I'm gonna hide in the trees, like you roll for your stealth, and I mean you're probably gonna roll high. As it then comes back around to your turn, they're gonna forget where you are, or you could like move while hidden in stealth, because it's like they last saw me in this area. I'm gonna stealth over here with my movement. I would probably make that stealth with movement your bonus action and still let you attack. It would be hard. It'd be a harder stealth, but like you could still hide.
Yeah, because I was just looking at cunning action, which is I could take a bonus action to dash, disengage, or hide.
Yeah. I mean, the disengage is great because then you don't get hit on a reflex, so you can get away without having to worry about the attack of opportunity.
My apologies. I actually need to use the washroom.
Yeah, we're actually ending up here now. We're at our time limit.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so thank you both for sticking around through this with me. Thank you for talking and giving me your insights. Next time you guys will be playing your game and in the forest.
Yeah, I'll have to talk to you. I might be in a weird situation for that game.
Okay, that's fun. We'll talk about it.
Okay.
All right. Thank you again.
Hey.
And I can't wait to see you guys in our next game.
Yeah.